Okay, this is the Autistic Chef today. We are going to talk about stress and chicken fried steak. So, this week has been a very stressful week for me. I've had circumstances that have happened and come up and I can't control, and it's just been really hard for me and very tedious, very frustrating. So I decided I would just do a video and get it off my mind. I decided to do chicken fried steak and cream gravy because it's one of my favorite dishes. So let's get into it and see what we can do. So what we do first is we cut the steak into strips. So we're going to make steak fingers. I don't like making big pieces of steak because they don't hardly cook most of the time. And they get tough and hard because it takes too long to be in the oil. So this alleviates that problem. Then what I do, when you go to a restaurant and you get chicken fried steak, sometimes you'll get the steak and you only have the stuff on the flour, the flavors in the flour. Well, I figured that problem out too myself. So what I do is I take my steak, I lay it out on the cutting board where you can season it. Now I have several versions of it that you can do. I use Cavenders on my steak. Because when you cook your meat and you have spice on it on top of the flour, the spice in the meat automatically goes into the meat. It doesn't stay in the flour. What am I doing? See, I'm stressed out still. And I only spice one side with the Cavenders because Cavenders it gets too much of a sweetness twang to it. And I pick them up and I kind of mush them so the flavoring gets in the meat because you've already tenderized the meat. So there's so much pore space there that you can get that flavor in that meat. And that's what you want. So like I said, I've been dealing with stress. For a couple of days there, I was just in chaotic mode. So put it back on the plate. Like that. And then I'm going to make my batter. So what I've taken, I've taken a sleeve and a half of crackers. I know you're thinking crackers. Why crackers? Well, because flour, sometimes when you use flour, it deviates the flavor of your meat and the flavor of what you're trying to accomplish. Of course, I chew my nails, so I have no fingernails, so it's hard for me to get into cans like this. And I use breadcrumbs or Progresso, whichever one you want. I decided to use these the first time. I put about that much in there. Put the lid back on, even spill it. And then I come back with my Fajita seasoning. My Cavenders. Lemon pepper. Lemon pepper actually helps the stuff stick to the meat, if I tell you the truth. At least that's what I found. Onion powder. There's no salt in this, so you want kind of an onion flavor. You can put as much as you want in it. It doesn't matter. It's not bad for you. And then I take cracked pepper. And I crack pepper in there. I like big pepper flakes in it. I have several versions. I have a Tabasco version, which I put the Tabasco in the eggs, or I have a Cavenders, which go in the eggs, or I even have a buttermilk ranch dressing version. But we'll get to that one day next when I get to this. You mix your breading up. I'm not saying my stress doesn't allow me to accomplish things. I have accomplished quite a bit this week. But it's just, it can hinder me a lot because my brain, I mean, it's like a jukebox in my head. It just goes off on and on and on. And I have this recording in my head, and I got to figure out the scenarios of what I'm doing. It gets very anxious and very manic at times thinking about it because I'm a very analytical person. So you just mix your food and make sure it's good and mixed. That's good and mixed. So then I just I put a little bit of pepper in my eggs. That's not what I wanted. It's okay. So then I take my steak. Oh, I forgot my plate. Hold on. Put it back on my plate. I don't put it on the same plate because it's kind of not hygienically good. So, to get this where I want it. So I take my steak, grab one, I put it in my egg wash. I take it, I put it in my batter. I take it again and put it in my egg wash. Take it again and put it in my batter. Because you want to cover your steak really well. And then you set it to the side. Put it in the egg wash. So you've got your layer and your flavors basically when you do this. You've got your meat flavor that you've spiced, and now you're spicing all of your topping has a spice. So you guarantee flavor now at this point. Because I can't stand going somewhere and getting chicken fried steak and just bite into it. You get the breading off of it, and all you taste is meat. Nope, I can't stand that. I'm like a chicken steak connoisseur. So, I have learned over the years that this is the best way to do it. And see how thick it is on there? So you just continue to do this, and sometimes you may run out of your stuff because you don't exactly know how much you're going to need. So, but you want to, do it twice because it's really good that way. I found it's wonderful. Sometimes your meat's so tenderized it breaks up in there, so you just have to kind of be gentle with it. So we're going to fry this up, and we'll be back with you when we start frying it. That's Autistic Chef out. Okay, here we are at the skillet. I put a piece in the test to make sure it was hot enough to fry. So I'm going to start frying. I got my gas stove on 4.5. I'm going to put the rest of my stuff in the fry. You don't want to put a whole lot in there because it'll get to where the grease gets hot cold, and we don't want that. So I put about this much in there and let it fry. So I was trying to learn ways to take care of my stress this week as an experiment. So me and my nephew have been walking a couple of times. I've walked 3 times. And it's kind of helping, but I always revert back to rock and roll. I love rock and roll music, so I just stick my earphones in and just listen to rock and roll all day. And it does help, but there's sometimes where it just gets too overwhelming and just can't deal with it. So as I learn more about it and I figure it out, I'll let you know more and give you more tips on how to take care of stress. But it has been an extremely stressful week. And you have your good days, you have your bad days. So I'm going to flip these, because you don't want them in there too long because they start getting tough. See what I mean by thick batter? It's just a better batter than flour. I mean, you can say what you want about it, but when you make them, if you do, you'll be like, wow, that's really amazing. And a friend of mine taught me how to do this. Her name is Pepper. And she is a wonderful cook. And she's taught me how to do a lot of stuff. And this is one of the dishes that she taught me how to do. And one thing she did teach me was you don't want to cook your chicken fried steak all the way through. You want to cook it almost al dente. And then you want to put it on your plate and let it drain. And then you want to put a lid over it so your moisture stays within your meat. So you don't have it all dried out when you go to the table with it. You just pick the lid up and take one out and put it back on. You have moisture on your meat. So it's just cooking away on 4. I wouldn't go no higher than 4. And the best oil to actually use is lard. But we're in a healthy conscience this week, and I'm kind of fat, so I got to go with the cooking oil or vegetable oil. So you can see when you see the blood matter coming up off the meat, you want to flip it again because it's almost about done. It's just pushing it up on the top side. The bottom side is just about done. And that means you need to flip them. Give them about another 2 or 3 minutes. And you're going to want to pull them off and put them on that plate, like I said, and put that lid on top of them. Oh, we're going to finish frying this stuff up, and then we'll come back and we're going to make some pan gravy for it. Autistic Chef out. Alright, this is Autistic Chef. We're back here to make a southern version style of cream gravy. I use onions. Oh, hold on, I forgot my onions. Let me get them. So, I'm going to saute me a little bit of onion. Not a whole lot, but just get sauteed. It won't take long for them to get going. Then you put your flour in here. And then you start mixing your flour up. And you build your roux. Now, roux are typically in the French. The French come up with the roux. That's how they make their chicken etouffee, the crawfish etouffee, and their gravies. So, but you don't want to get a dark roux with your white gravy because then it won't be white gravy. Need a little bit more flour. The worst mistake people make is not putting enough flour in the gravy. It's too soupy. You see how the coloration is coloring? You have different types of roux: dark roux, light roux, medium roux, brown roux. Then you have your black eye roux, which is for whatever reason. So we're going to take some milk here. So we're going to pour it in the pot. That should be about enough. And just keep mixing it. If you do happen to not have enough flour in your gravy, you can always make a thickener. But I wouldn't use flour, I'd use cornstarch. Because you can overbear and you can overpower your gravy with your flour and it just didn't taste right. So once you put your flour in your pan and you pour your milk in it, that's all the flour you should ever use. You go back with your cornstarch. So now I'll put that in there, and I'll get some pepper. And some salt. And sometimes it needs a little bit more salt because you know how flour. And I'll come over here and I'll get a little bit of onion powder thrown in there to kind of blend in with your chicken fried steak. But that's pretty much all I do with my flour and my gravy. I just continue to stir it until it gets thick. So while that's cooking, I want to show you what I meant about the dome and the meat. We got the pan here on top of chicken fried steak, and see how it's kind of moisturizing? Will keep your chicken fried steak moist. And it's actually completely almost done. So that's a good tip for you guys when you're cooking chicken fried steak, because I can't stand tough chicken fried steak. So I will be in the future cooking healthier foods, but I'm a big foodie and a Southern comfort person. But I will be doing a chef salad, and I will be doing a wonderful Italian sausage vegetable soup that I've got. And then when it gets colder, I'll be doing some chili and some stuff like that. And I'm thinking about doing a brisket one day in the oven. It tastes just like coming out of the smoker. So we got things we're coming down the road with, and we're just figuring as we go, but we'll make it all work. Kill it. Autistic chef out. Okay, we're ready to plate the chicken fried steak up and the mashed potatoes. This is the consistency that you want your gravy. You don't want it too thick. This is the perfect consistency that you need. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the potatoes. You know, Southern people like a lot of gravy on their food, although it's completely kind of healthy for you, but you know, what's that matter to people? Especially look at me, what's it matter to me? It don't matter to me at all. And I'm a big old boy. Then you're going to take your meat out of here, you're going to get you 2 pieces of it, like this. Then you're going to come over here, and you're just going to kind of cover your meat. You want to cover it all the way because you don't want to have, you don't want your gravy to outpower your topping, your meat, because you got all that flavor in there. But that's pretty much what you do, and that's the chicken fried steak and cream gravy episode. Y'all have a wonderful day, and Autistic Chef out.